Welcome to MB Shoe Doc, where we explore the world of quality dress shoes for men. We will cover the art of patina and shine, learn to care for our shoes, review the brands that you love, and introduce brands that you've never heard of. Anybody out there ever get the what have I gotten myself into feeling? Because I'm getting a little bit of that right about now. So, Allen Edmonds, these are a hot mess. But we're going to strip them, see if we can get rid of some of these cracks and gouges. And then we're going to do a patina and shine them up. So let's get to it. Alright, let's start by putting some tight fitting shoe trees into these. It's going to help stretch out this leather. You can see the toe kind of curves up. It's going to flatten this out. Help with all the creasing. Alright, then we're going to strip them with acetone. Now, truthfully, half the finish is stripped already, so I don't think it's going to take a whole lot of effort to strip these the rest of the way. I'm going to get them with some acetone. Just got to put on my thick gloves for this. They're dishwashing gloves because acetone can eat through the thin latex type gloves. Hoping we'll be able to get some of this staining out here too. Now this part here at the top, little saddle area, I'm not going to spend too much time stripping that because I am going to keep it darker brown. But this will get rid of any kind of waxes or anything that might be on the surface of it, because I will probably want to go ahead and do a darker brown dye on top of it. Alright, so stripped both of the shoes. You can see this stain, very resistant to the stripping. It does not want to come off, so we're going to be sanding these, and hopefully that is going to smooth that out a little bit further. And work on these deep scuffs and things too. So I think this is like 800 grit sandpaper. So I'm basically like wet sanding this leather here. This is like sandpaper you use for automotive paint. So I'm just getting a little bit of water on it. Sanding this down a little. Alright, a little bit more on this one too. So just the toe is kind of scuffed up on it. Alright, I feel like these are sufficiently stripped, cleaned up, sanded down, so I'm going to look at adding a nice base coat. Fibings beige, so it's a nice light color. Didn't want to change the tone of them too much to start with. So this is going to have almost that original light walnut color to it after this dries. So you can see as this starts to dry, it's got a nice walnut tone to it. I'll have to let it dry completely for some of these darker spots to go away. Alright, so again, I'm using the beige. I'm going to do a museum style finish, which is just making some kind of splotchy areas in various spots here. Use this Fibings Pro Dye in walnut. And add a little bit of toe burnish here. Alright, the last bit of color I'm going to add here is a little bit of this Fibings mid-brown. I'm going to add this in a few areas too. Mid-brown's got a little bit more of a reddish undertone to it. It might be just a bit darker too. Alright, so we got most of the dye work done, possibly all the dye work done. Good part of it. The next step is to rehydrate using Bic 4. So this is going to recondition the lotion because the stripping process and even the dye itself kind of dries out the leather. And because the dye leaves kind of a sheen on the surface that you can't really tell what the color actually looks like. So when you rehydrate, it's going to eliminate that the dry dye, and you get a better feel for what the true color is here. I'd say especially here on this brown part, you see that kind of sheen. It's just hard to tell what the color is underneath that until you do this step. Alright, so rehydrated the leather. I'm going to give them a good brushing. All right, so really I'm pretty happy with the way these are looking at this point. Just because there's some scuffs and things like that, I'm going to use a little bit of Sphere Cream. This is the light brown. Just going to apply it, especially in the areas where there's some scuffs. And just kind of along the vamp here. In the areas that are already lighter brown. Not going to carry it too far onto the toes, so I'm going to use the darker brown for that area. So hoping this will fill in some of these little scuff marks and things. And give maybe a more even tone. Notice, at least right now when I first apply it, it seems to darken the leather a little bit. I think that will lighten up after a few minutes though. Alright, so I've covered the lighter areas there. Now we're going to switch from this light brown to a little bit of dark brown. Same thing, but just going to concentrate on the darker areas now. Alright, I think that's looking pretty good. Now, I think the toe is maybe a little bit bolder than what I like. Sorry guys, I paused it there and I actually just wasn't happy with the way the toe was looking. It was still too dark, so I just took a cotton ball and I wiped it down with acetone once, and that stripped off a little bit of color. So now it's a little bit lighter. Happier with this. So now we're going to go ahead and continue with the shining. So I'm still just using the neutral mirror gloss. I am not going to use any of the dark brown. It was just starting to get too dark. This toe was already, I felt too dark, so I'm going to keep it a little bit lighter here. It's one of the nice things about patina. It's rarely too late. You can typically make some adjustments. Now if I decided I wanted the toe to be bright yellow, I don't think I could go back and do that necessarily, but you can lighten and darken and adjust slightly to your taste. And where I had applied dye to the welt and to the sole here, I'm also going to go over that with the neutral wax too. You could certainly sand it down. I'm not going to do all that. But you could sand it down and then do some dye and wax, and that would give even a cleaner look. Alright, so here we are, completed our restoration. Hope you enjoyed seeing this project. Really very happy with the way these turned out. I think they look pretty amazing. Laced them up with some Fintico laces, and I always say that if you don't have some stained fingertips, then you're just not enjoying the weekend. So clearly this was a good weekend. Good project. See you guys next time.